Okay, notice the directions say to add or subtract. Sometimes they won't tell you specifically what to do. You'll have to look at it yourself, and sometimes you'll have more than one problem in the same problem. So notice in between your polynomials, you have signs. These are very important for you to recognize because it's telling you whether you need to distribute or not. Remember, if you have a minus sign, you have to distribute to everything in the polynomial behind it. That means that I'm going to distribute this negative sign to everything in this polynomial, but not this one, okay, because this one has a plus. So I have a negative a squared plus 1 that just comes down, and I'm distributing the negative to the a squared, and I get negative a squared. The negative to the negative 3, and I'm going to get a positive 3. Bring down this next polynomial exactly how it is. It's not going to change signs because there is a plus in front and not a minus. Now this one's a little harder. We got a lot of stuff going on here. So I'm just going to look at one variable at a time. I have a squares that I'm going to see what's all in common. So I have a negative a squared, and a positive 5a squared. And so here I'm going to take these two at a time. So I have the same sign, so I'm going to add and keep the sign. I'm going to bring down that 5a squared to meet with it. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to continue to go on. I'm going to keep going with my a squared. So I have a negative 2a squared and a positive 5, different signs. I'm going to subtract, take the sign of the bigger number is positive, so my answer is positive 3. Okay, the next thing I'm going to look for is an a, because I want to look for it in descending order. So the only a that I have is this, and it's already in simplest form. There's no other a to meet with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring down my 6a, negative 6a, all the way down to the bottom. All right? And the last thing that we have is numbers. And so just like I did my first step, I'm going to say I have a positive 1, a positive 3, and a positive 7. If you want to do it all in one step, that's fine. But I'm going to say 1 plus 3 is 4. Bring down my 7. And 4 plus 7 is 11. So this is in simplest form, 3a squared minus 6a plus 11. Okay? Our next two examples have kind of like translating words. And so they're basically telling us what operation to use with the number or the words in front. So they want to add negative 3x squared minus 5x plus 2 to x squared minus 6x plus 9. So I'm going to rewrite this with the operation in between. Okay, now that we have it written with the operation in between, now we can combine like terms. So I'm going to combine my x squares together, and I have a negative 3x squared and a positive 1. So different signs. I'm going to subtract. Take the sign of the bigger number is negative, so my answer is negative 2x squared. Now let's look at x's. So I have a negative 5x and a negative 6x. I have the same sign, so I'm going to add and keep the sign. So negative 11x. And then last is my numbers. I have a positive 2 and a positive 9, so I'm going to add them and get positive 11. Now this is in simplest form because I have no more like terms. And we have one more to go. Now remember when we were translating and we had that section where I gave you a lot of different words to look out for. And one of the words to look out for was subtract from. And remember, subtract from, reverse the order. So whatever's last comes first. So when I rewrite this with the operation, I'm going to write the second polynomial first. And I'm going to subtract it from the first polynomial. Okay, so I've reordered it because of the word subtract from. Now we combine like terms. So I'm going to combine my y squares. So I have a 7y squared and a 5y squared. Oops, I forgot to distribute my negative sign. So let me do that first. I'm going to distribute that negative to each thing in that polynomial behind it. So that means that I need to combine my 7y squared, or not combine, but write it down. 7y squared minus 9y minus 8. Sorry about that. And then I distribute that negative to the 5y squared, and I get negative 5y squared. Distribute the negative to the 8y, and I get negative 8y. Distribute the negative to the 2, and I get negative 2. Okay, now that I have combined, or distributed that negative, now I can combine my like terms. So I have 7 minus 5 different signs. I subtract. Take the sign of the bigger number is positive, so my answer is positive. Then I want to combine my y's. So I have a positive 9 and a negative 8, different signs. I'm going to subtract. Take the sign of the bigger number is positive, so 9 minus 8 is just 1y. And then last, my numbers, a negative 8 and a negative 2. So I have the same sign, so I'm going to add and keep the sign. So 8 plus 2 is 10. And this is in simplest form. Now these are a little more difficult, but still we're just combining like terms. The only new step is to distribute that negative sign, and please don't forget it like I did. At least I caught my error before we went any further. So anytime you have a negative in between those polynomials, please distribute before you combine your like terms. If you have any questions, let me know.